Hey guys, it's time again for that Petential podcast. Petential Mental Stability Podcast, as we may be calling it. So, there is nothing on the agenda today. I've actually not written anything down. I've got no plans for today. I'm just going to talk to you as I would if you was here, basically. As if you was around me, sort of like in a coffee shop, maybe having a chat, but obviously I can't hear your responses. I've even got a coffee as well, even though I'm not used to having coffee these days, which is mad for me. I used to have, here you go. I used to have, oh God. We'll start off with the coffee episode, shall we? Let's get into it. It started when I used to work at McDonald's at like 4 in the morning, do the deliveries, the ones that, not the ones that come to customers, the ones that come into store with all the stock. Well, I'd be the guy putting all that stock away, checking temperatures, all that kind of stuff. And well, God, I was young and I was very weedy, didn't have much strength. And when you're throwing around 25 kilogram boxes, sure, doesn't seem much at first, but you get a cage of 20, 30 of them, 2 or 3 cages. You soon get tired, and the rest, and the timing, and everything. Anyway, so I'd need coffee. That and the night shifts if I worked overnight. That's when I started drinking it, probably about 17. Did that all the way through. Then eventually I got sales jobs and stuff like that. The coffee went, I needed more coffee because you're working 12 hours a day without any pay, knocking door to door. You're definitely going to need your motivation and a whole lot of energy. And we didn't really have stuff for food then, so it was like bring sandwiches. It wasn't the most productive, healthy way of working, but it was definitely motivational and challenging. Definitely developed you as a person. So then I went into office work, right? Now, this is the thing. I've been in all these jobs that are hands-on, hard-working, stuff like that, and I go straight to office work. And I'm sat there at my desk, trying to work hard, and I'm falling asleep like the bright lights in the office, boring radio, not much chit-chat going on because you have to get on with it. And you just get tired. So what happened to me was I went from one coffee a day to a double scooper, as I used to call it, 2 scoops of coffee in one coffee. That's what I've got right now, nice and fresh and strong. And then I went through the triple scooper, went absolutely nuts and started having triple scoopers. And then I was having like 3 triple scoopers a day, or 3 double scoopers a day, depending on the day. Like 6 to 9 coffees. It's the insanity, you know what I mean? And I was wondering why I was doing so much work. I was pretty much pampered up, caffeine overdose, just non-stop on my work, right? So I was doing really well in the office, but oh God, it was really playing with my anxiety side of things, like making me overthink, making me have too much energy when I'm sat at a desk, grinding my teeth, tapping my feet, stuff like that. Makes you a lot more temperamental as well. You're quick to snap, you're quick to, because of all the energy that's pent up and you can't do anything, you're very quick to act. So I was tanning these coffees like you wouldn't believe. Like, if I didn't have a coffee in the morning, you're not talking to me. So that was the deal. And then recently I decided, you know what, I like doing all these cleanses. I like trying different things, maybe having days off entirely eating and trying new veg, trying new stuff. I thought, why don't I try and not have coffee, like detox out of it. So I had the first few days off coffee, and I had banging headaches. I had terrible mood swings. My energy was drained. And I think I've got 2 weeks off now. Hey, those next 2 weeks is literally going to be me probably having coffee again, for a bit of motivation, bit of enjoyment, and I think to weed myself back off, it's going to hurt again. But it is what it is. It's all a part of life. And it sort of really dawns on you quickly things that can affect your mental health without you realizing. As I said, the anxiety side of things is, so drastic. The nerves, the fact that, I used to get heart palpitations, which some people would say it's a panic attack. Well, actually, it was a coffee attack. I'd had way too much. So it's something you might want to look into is if you're thinking a lot of the time, overthinking, I always say, well, maybe it's a cause of you underacting and you've got too much energy and you're not doing enough. You're just stationary and stagnant, not doing anything. It could potentially be, oh, just accidentally clicked on the Xbox. What? You have an Xbox? Yes, I have an Xbox. And it's come back on again. It's just going to be me fighting with this whole episode. As I can say, you can probably tell I've had a bit of coffee as well. A bit more energetic. I'd like to apologise. I've also got hay fever, and that is killing me today. So I'm locked myself in my room away from it all. Where was I? Yeah. Is it the fact that you're not doing enough, or is it the fact in that you're overthinking because of it, or maybe you're just having too much stuff into your digestion, and it's really messing with the chemical balance in your brain and your body. So like caffeine, oh my god, like Coca-Cola, the caffeine in coffees and tea, in energy drinks and stuff like that, that can have a massive negative effect on your mental health. Alongside, obviously, one that nobody ever talks about, it seems to happen a lot of the time, is that people with anxiety will drink on the weekends, maybe potentially quite heavily as well. What they'll do is, because it gets rid of them limitations that they have of being confident, talking to people, and gets rid of them inhibitions to not actually act in certain ways or to overthink things. They assume that the alcohol's a good thing and they use it for a social aspect, which it can be. It can be. But what they also forget is that it's also a depressant, right? So what happens is you take this, you take your drink. Sorry. Take your drink and, you're confident that night, you have a good night, whatever. Good couple of nights maybe, maybe whatever it is. And then 3 days later, you've completely forgot that you've been out. You're not even thinking about it. You just sat on your own maybe you're at home, maybe you're at work, and then you start feeling really negative. You're really down. You don't know why. You've got no energy. Even if you've beat your hangover, it's after the hangover that the toxins still in your body. The depressants are still affecting your brain and your biochemistry. And it's really important to notice that if you've poisoned yourself with a depressant, if you've taken a depressant and you're constantly taking depressants, now it doesn't matter how many antidepressants you take, because you're still because you were sad anyway to begin with, that's still putting you in a deeper state of depression. So make sure if you are depressed, cut the alcohol. Just cut it. Slow down on the coffee. That could be spiraling your anxiety to levels you wouldn't even believe. Watch your caffeine intake. Watch your sugar levels. How much sugar you're eating. Maybe that you think you have issues, with your mood swings and your depression and stuff like this, when really you're just eating too much sugar. And you're getting sugar spikes, sugar crashes. You're feeling unstable. 1 minute you're fine, 1 minute you're great, 1 minute you feel amazing, the next you're exhausted, you're tired, you're cranky, you're upset, and you don't know why. Well, what's your diet? You know what I mean? We've already discussed it in one of the Petential whiteboard sessions that 90 to 95% of serotonin comes from the gut. Now, if all of that serotonin, the feel-good chemical, comes from the gut, what else could the biome in your gut, this second brain, as they call it, of bacteria, what else could they produce to affect your mental ability, to affect how you feel? Oftentimes when you feel something, it's not in your mind, is it? It's not, oh, that hurts my head. It's usually it hurts your stomach or your chest, or you don't feel good inside. And maybe you're not eating stuff that's going to make you feel good inside. Saying that, you're probably thinking, that's too obvious. That's not the reason I'm feeling down all the time. But what if it is? You know what I mean? Have you tried it? Have you stopped coffee for a week, 2 weeks, and measured if you felt more anxious or less anxious? Have you stopped drinking alcohol on the weekends and accepted that maybe you have to face the fact that you're anxious at first, because most people are when you start speaking to people? That's fine, it's a part of life being anxious, but facing it with courage is what makes life so exciting. So make sure that if you are depressed, you're watching how much depressant stuff you're intaking, whether that is drinking, whether that's poor foods, or whether that's soap operas and news reports and social media reports of negative things. If all you're saying to yourself, taking in, consuming, is negative, you're going to have a negative outlook on life, on everything that's around you. That's just how things work. Like, you can't distance yourself away from a feeling when you're constantly getting reminded that everything's this bad or this miserable or this, this much of a wreck. You're just going to start to feel it eventually, if that's all you're taking in. So, bit of a rambler, bit of a mad ramble. What did I replace my coffee habit with? Maybe a bit of help for you. If this is something that you might want to try out, well, he says sipping a lovely strong coffee. What I replaced mine with, and I will be doing again soon, is simply, instead of having the strong coffee in the morning, still had my breakfast, the porridge, with blueberries, and then I had a water with lemons chopped in it. Actually did wonders for me, settling my stomach, settling my heartburn. It's really good. Obviously it hydrates you and stuff like that, and it makes you feel good. I know there's no study saying that lemon water actually helps heartburn, but mate, it was correlated, right? I stopped having coffee, started having lemon water, my stomach felt better. Maybe it was the coffee, who knows, eh? And then also going on walks. So instead of just sitting in, drinking a coffee and getting on with it, I plan time after my breakfast with my water, finish the drink, and then go for a walk. And just a walk on the outside, getting that fresh air, getting your body moving. That's the main thing. Get your body moving, get your fresh air, get outside, free to a space where there's no distractions, no noise, no judgment, or any of this kind of social pressure, and just existing for a little while and seeing parts of the world. Maybe even if it's the same parts of the world, it's maybe a bit of peace, or just watching the world go by whilst you're existing in it. That's really good to do for your mind as well. But what that can do is also wake you up. You wake up a bit from the fresh air, from the movement, from the action, opposed to sitting there over coffee assuming that you need another. And that is my rant on coffee. So maybe we should do this as a 2-part episode. And now I'm going to have a sip of my lemon water. Beautiful. So what if you, maybe we'll go into diet now as well, with the coffee aspect of it. What if you've struggled to implement some new changes onto your diet? You've struggled to change the way you eat. What if you've struggled to make these long-term changes you've always wanted? Well, as I say, with everything, I mean, I've got like 3 catchphrases by now. Number 1, write it down. Number 2, take time. Okay, that's great, but that doesn't fit into this really. Number 3 is take the first step. That's my catchphrase, one of them. Take the first step. It's why our course is called that. What do I mean? Well, you want to implement new diet changes, maybe salads, maybe more veg, maybe, I don't know what it may be, something different into your diet, right? Or a different way of eating, less takeaways, stuff like that, examples. So what you do is, let's say if it was salads, etc., you'd have your normal meal with a tiny bit less than you'd normally eat, and a bit of salad to the side. Like, just start off with 1 or 2 bites worth of salad or whatever it may be. I don't go for the traditional salad. I make my own. Lettuce, mint, peppers, carrots, sometimes onions, some lemon, chilies, bit of this, bit of that. Throw it in. It tastes nice, it's fresh, it's spicy, and it's sweet. So for me, I love that. You know what I mean? It fits my sort of style of food rather than mayo, and I'm not a big fan of stuff like that. So that's what I go for. I style it to my own character and my own tastes. So there you go. Start with, okay, once a week I'm gonna have this, but instead of having a full plate full of chips and this. I'm going to have a bit of salad on the side, maybe some less chips, maybe a less nugget or something like that, even though I know a lot of you guys love your nuggets. That's fine, I do too. Feel free to buy me a nugget sometime. And that's one step, just one step, once a week. Okay, we'll put this in, and then it becomes twice a week, and then you have a bit more veg every now and then you stop hating it as much as you do now, and before you know it, you sort of rolling on the diet you was always wanting. Sounds pretty good, right? Okay, well, how does this work with a takeaway? I can't just not get a takeaway and count that, right? Okay, great. You've got a good point. If you're struggling with having that many takeaways and stuff like that on healthy food, there's two ways. There's the good old cold turkey. You just say, no more, not doing it, not going on that website anymore, not getting the order, not getting the delivery anymore. Or you could do the more straightforward, maybe, option of take what you'd normally order, right? This is your normal order from the takeaway. There's probably two of you in the house, maybe three, you get this takeaway together. Maybe not. I used to get takeaway on my own all the time because, thug life. And what you need to do is simply say, right, instead of having whatever you normally have, a kebab and some chicken wings and, the chips and, they'll bring the garlic bread as well, or I'll order a garlic bread. What you do is you go for, okay, what I'll do is instead of a large kebab, I'll have a small kebab. I'll have, the wings and the small chips and hope they bring the free garlic bread. What I'm talking about there is sort of lowering your portion size at first, and then a couple of weeks later it'd be like, okay, I'll have just the kebab, just, the wings and the chips or whatever, and just this, just that. Eventually, it'll be, maybe I'll share a big pizza with someone, or, maybe tone that down, and eventually you're just going to be like, okay, I'm still enjoying takeaways, I'm still having my cheat day, because I said that is important for a healthy body in a way, your cheat day, because your body has to still be able to break down those unhealthy foods as well, so you need to make sure that they're a part of your diet, or else your body's not going to know what to do when you actually take them in, and then you'll put on weight. So what you need to do is basically say, okay, I'm still enjoying my takeaway, I'm just having a smaller portion size. Still enjoy the taste, still good, still fills me up, I guess. Especially now I'm drinking water with it instead. Maybe a bonus. Because the thing is, if you're drinking pop with a meal, that sugary drink, that actually makes more room in your stomach for food. I know that doesn't scientifically make sense, but what it does is it turns, there's a scientific term for it anyway, there's always more room for cake, and there's a reason. It's because when you take something sweet, some chemical weird thing happens in your brain to shut off the fact that you're over full, or maybe it allows more digestion time, something along that line. But it just means that you can eat more, right? So if you're having something sweet, like a can of pop that's 3/4 sugar, as soon as you start drinking that, you're not going to feel as full as you should if it was just the meal and water. So what I'd say to you is, if you're eating a big meal, have water with it instead, and see how quickly you get full up. And this is the same again if you're putting on weight, or you're a weight size you're not happy with, especially around the waistline. What you can experiment with very easily is literally having the same exact foods you're having now, but smaller portion size. Don't fill the plate. You don't have to fill the plate. That's mental. I'd say, 3/4 of a plate full. If it's touching the sides, it's way too much. A great way the Japanese do it, I believe it's the Japanese, yeah, it is. They have small bowls of different food, so rice and this, and I'm not quite actually up to date on Japanese cuisine. I don't know what they eat. A lot of fish into it. Quite healthy stuff, to be fair, as far as I'm aware, noodles and etc. I just don't know what they eat. That's just me being Dumb, unfortunately. But what they do is they'll have a couple of different bowls of what they enjoy, this bowl of this bowl of that, this bowl of this, and they'll pass the bowls round the family or whoever's eating, and you all eat a little bit of each. And then what they do, what's magic, is they actually stop when they're 80% of the way full. They don't stop when they're bursting and they have to undo the pants and they're, ooh, that was a meal and now I need a nap. That's not healthy. When you're doing that, you're overfeeding yourself. Your stomach's struggling to intake all that food. What you need to be is eating at a level where you eat until you're satisfied. And when you're satisfied, you go, yeah, that's sorted me for the next few hours. I'm good. I know I can get more food later. I'm all right. I'm safe. And not overfilling yourself. There's a reason why I've always stayed consistent, really, with my weight. I've always been quite slim. And I think it's just that. I'm not big on the feeling of being bloated after a meal. I don't like to not be active. I'm not like an alligator. I think it's an alligator. Where when they eat, after they eat, they just sit. They can't do anything. They can't fight you off. They just lie there for hours like, That's not what we need to have or to be. We need to still remain active. So that's why I say smaller portions, more regular, to keep your energy high. Especially better if it's healthier food, with that steps we've taken before. You'll be feeling a lot better. So watch how much coffee you're having can affect your mind. Watch how much you're eating if it's your body that's affected. If you're not happy with your weight, watch your portion size. Make sure you're having some kind of breakfast because it kicks off the metabolism for the day. Drink water with your meals because you'll notice when you're more full. And allow yourself to have cheat days. Don't starve yourself. Don't do... I can't remember what I called it on the in the book, but it's this thing where people will starve themselves all day on soup, right? You know the ones, they go, oh, I'm on a new diet, Janice. I'm on a new diet, right? They come in, you know the one. You're Janice in this scenario. Oh, Janice, I don't care if you're a bloke. You're Janice right now. Oh, Janice, I'm starving myself this week. I'm on a new diet. I'm only going to eat a bit of soup in the no breakfast, bit of soup all day, and then at night I'll have a small meal before bedtime. Well, what do? They'll usually starve themselves, right, all day. Very little food, maybe some cheese crackers or whatever, and then they'll go home and they'll eat mountains of food like before bed, like a full plate, and they'll lie there on the couch, not moving, not being active, not going to the gym. They've not been able to go to the gym because they've not had the energy in the body to be active because they've starved themselves. They're in that sort of state of survival mode where you can get a lot of energy in it. I actually do train hungry a lot of the times, but that's because I know that it can give me energy if you thrive in it. A lot of people just get, tired and lazy when they're hungry, and they just, once they get home and they've starved themselves all day, they'll say, oh, I've been good today. I'll just have this. I'll just have a bit of that and a bit of this and a bit more of that. And because they'll eat all that food before going to bed and not burning any of it off, it all stores. And the bigger reason why it'll store is because you're starving yourself. Your body's like, oh my God, I'm not getting any food. There's no consistent food here. I know I'm going to be starving the next day because I starved all day today. So I'm going to hold on to all this food that you've just fed and then try and work for the next day when you're starving yourself. So you're more likely to cling, that fat's more likely to cling to you for safety. Your body's trying to store it because it needs it. Whereas if you eat regular meals consistently, still, with high energy, you're not bloating yourself, you're not overfilling yourself, just nice regular meals, your body's going to be certain that it's got the energy, it knows it can burn stuff off. You're going to have consistent moods, especially if it was being caused by the eating problems anyway. And you're going to feel a lot more energetic, a lot more confident, less insecure, stuff like that. You're going to be able to function better, right? So today's episode's been weird. It started off as coffee, went into food, went into diet. But as I always say, is you don't have to be perfect with anything I advise. Like, I've done quite a lot of research into into what works. So what you'll often find is I'll have gaps in my understanding or gaps in my knowledge, but that's because I'm not looking at the exact scientific names for everything. I'm looking at, right, what is the actual strategy that works, that gets results time and time again without faults, without, people saying, no, it doesn't work and people giving up. Simple routines that you can all fit into, that you can all do to improve how you feel about yourself. And this is one of those. It's just, okay, take the portions down. Okay, maybe order less takeaway. Maybe add a bit of salad every now and then. Consistent meals. Maybe I'm overly depressed because I'm drinking too much and not doing enough. Maybe I'm anxious because I'm starving myself, or I'm having too much coffee, which sets your anxiety off. Maybe even both. Like if you're not eating enough and you're drinking loads of caffeine to make up for it and smoking, I mean, is there any wonder why your body's in shock? Obviously, it's going to respond to that. Your subconscious is what's driving you, so you need to make sure that your body is filled with the right kind of stuff, or at least it's filled and it's certain it's going to get more food, it's going to get more energy. So you're not in that scarcity mindset, that negative, scared frame all the time. And that, I think, should wrap up today's episode. I believe it was a good one. Obviously, we're looking to get guests in soon on this podcast, so it's not just going to be me ramble on. It's going to be some great people, actually. I know, really connected with some amazing people. This podcast is only going to grow because it's actual habits for mental stability. It's not about opinions. It's not about attention or drama or, judgment and stuff like that. It's finally something where you can sit back and go, you know what? I'll give this a try. It's a little strategy. Doesn't matter if it works for me or not. Everyone's different. They have their own different little things that will work for them. But the main thing is, something on here, just one episode, one little thing might change your whole life. That's massive to me. So hopefully you've taken some of this advice. You're going to try it and you're going to enjoy it. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you up soon. Petential out.